Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Eric, also known as Ready Hustle or Mr. Fajita, whichever way you want to call me. Today, we're going to be doing some Puff 3D on a hat instead of on the computer. So we're taking our digitized file. I went ahead and test stitched it before. So we're going to go ahead try it out on a hat, and actually got a few hats to do. So I'll walk you through the overall process of what we do when we do Puff 3D hats. What needles, what we need to bring, how to set up the machine, all of that. So stay tuned, check it out. If you haven't already, give me a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay guys, so I got the machine ready to go. Next thing you want is a quality blank. I'll be using a Decky blank. I love these hats. I just like the structure. They really remind me of a 5950. Just like the hats you see in the pros. I know a lot of people like Yupong, but for me, not my favorite hats. It's the bill. So it's really all in preference, but it's very important when you're embroidering that you get a quality blank, because I bought in cheap little $250 structure hats, and they're horrible. They break needles. I thought it was me the whole time. Why can't I get this right? I switch over to a nicer hat, no issue. So if you're struggling, spend $5 on a hat, not $2, and you'll be happier. Next thing you need, some foam. This is actually just some cheap foam I got from Amazon. Now you get foam from All Stitch and other embroidery places, and you get different sizes. I think this is 2mm. Super cheap. I just bought a big old stack of different colors. So if I ever get some one-offs or I got to make a sample or something, I don't have to worry about running out to Joann's or something local. So that works perfect for me. I do still have some foam from All Stitch too that I use, but like I said, it's already cut down to size. I like that better, and it works just as fine. Yeah, so we're going to tighten the bobbin on it. If you have a bobbin gauge, which I highly recommend if you're doing any kind of industrial embroidery. Let me see. So right here, it's a TOA. And this is the analog non-digital. It's half the price of the digital, so that's why we got this one. And normally I set it to 25 on hats. I increased that to 30. I highly recommend getting one of these if you're going to get an industrial embroidery machine. Let's see, so you got the foam. We're going to tighten up the bobbin, and when you tighten up the bobbin, you might have to also adjust your top tension, which I already did. So we'll see how it goes on this hat. I might have to play around with it as it's stitching out. It's totally doable. You just twist the top while it's stitching, and you can see the difference. So that's one way to dial it in, or you could just, practice and trial and error, maybe go through a couple hats. My goal is to not eat up any hats tonight and just get quality stitch outs. So let's go ahead and hoop the hat. Hooping is probably the most important step. If you get the hooping wrong, nothing you do will be right. So you can sit there and play with all the settings. If you don't hoop good, it probably won't stitch out good. Okay, so one last thing I forgot to mention. I like to add a sheet of tearaway backing to my hats, even with structured hats. I know a lot of people say you don't need them, and you probably don't need it, but in my personal experience, I've had a lot better success using a single sheet and sometimes 2 sheets of tearaway backing. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best not to get in the way of the shot. I'll go ahead, slide that backing in underneath the little, I don't even know what that's called, under that metal thing. Okay, and then we're gonna pull that sweatband up. I know the name, the sweatband. And I like to hook in that, not so much hook in, but make sure that the back is going around the plates back here. And then you're going to put the sweatband underneath that metal piece. I see some mistake people do is they jam it all the way down, and sometimes, you know, it's just not supposed to sit that way depending on the hat. Some hats you can go down, but this hat I just go down a few. Make sure it's straight all the way around. Make sure it's going underneath the hook here. And I like to pull it tight in the back, reach around with this. Make sure that sweatband is tucked where it's supposed to go. And it's very important that, I don't know if you can see that, and there's another little hook here, and make sure that's gripping the bottom of there. That'll help keep the hat right where you need it. Okay, my little buckle slipped out. Okay, so got it all the way back. Now we're going to pull it tight. And when you're doing that, I only have a single head, so it's not that big of a deal. But if you were having 2 to 6 heads, whatever you got, it's very important that each time you hoop a hat, you hoop it identical. Because if one hat is not hooped the same exact way, the embroidery will be moved to the left or the right depending on how off it is. So go ahead, I hold it here. Sometimes I'll pull it a little bit to the right of the center, and then when I tighten it, it moves right back. So the hoop is looking good. Let me show you a close-up. Okay, you see how that metal strap is sitting at the base of the hat all the way around? That's perfect how you want it. The hat doesn't look like it's in there too tight. It's not getting scrunched up or anything. And final steps, I'm just gonna throw on some clips right here. Pull it tight, clip it, and we'll be throwing it on the machine. Okay, so I do 1 to 2 clips per side. One's usually enough, but let's overachieve and put 2 on. And as you can see, the hat went underneath the metal strap all the way around. They get a little bunched up here, but I'm not doing any embroidery over here, so it will be fine. All right, let's get on the machine. So when I first started using when I first started embroidering hats, I would get a lot of needle breaks, and it was probably due to, it's already hot in here. So when I first started embroidering hats, I used to get a lot of needle breaks, and it was probably due to improper hooping, maybe bad designs, I'm not sure. Most likely probably an error on my end. I used to use this steamer. I would steam the hat for 10-15 seconds before throwing it on to make the structured part a little bit softer to embroider. But lately I've been getting away from that and finding good success without it, which I don't know if that's just because my technique is better and I got the machine more dialed in. But I highly recommend, if you're struggling, get this cheap little steamer off of Amazon, or even a spray bottle or a little heat gun, whichever way you prefer. And what that will do is just heat up the front. It'll soften the structure, and you might have less needle breaks and a little bit more success. So that's one little hack you could do. I'm gonna go without it. Hopefully I don't need it. We'll find out. Never done this design on a hat, so I really have no idea how it's gonna act. Sometimes, just you gotta go back and make tweaks. But I'm hoping I got it right the first time. So let's go ahead, put that hat on, and hit go. Okay, so because this hat has no underlay, there's no like tatami stitches or fill stitches, it's just the puff 3D stitches all the way. I'm just gonna put the foam on at the very beginning. Otherwise, sometimes you have to come back middle of the stitches or right before the satin foam or the satin 3D stitches and add the foam. So it's actually quite a bit easier this way. And on some machines, I don't know if you can see it in the camera here, but the cutter is right here. and it has a case, and these bills are so big on these hats that when the machine comes this way and brings it around, I've gotten a couple stuck in there. So what I do to avoid that is I just put a little fold into the hat. I know it's a flat bill, you don't want to do that, but you can put it straight later, no issue. So let's go ahead, let's trace it. Okay, so let's go ahead, we're going to center that needle. I'm going to bring this design down a little bit. Let's trace it again. We can go down a little bit more. Okay, that should be good. So I'm going to grab a black piece of foam. Oh, I almost forgot to switch out to my hat bobbin. Right now I have my wife's bobbin in there for her shirts. So let me just pop this off real quick. I think there was enough on that bobbin to finish this hat, but I don't want to have to change bobbin mid-hat. I hate doing that. Something always goes wrong. So, got it in. Go around the pigtail twice, go down, and insert. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and leave that bobbin cap off just because it's gonna get knocked off anyways during the embroidery. And then it'll just be rattling around in there. Okay, did I grab the foam? I already grabbed the foam. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this foam in half so I can use the other half later. Alright guys, are you as nervous as me? Let's see. Ready? Ooh, I didn't pick the color. That was a close one, guys. Right there, that foam's not going to go anywhere now. Okay, so now it's going to start the 3D part, the satin stitches. See how slow it's going? It's because the satin stitches right there, they're too long. That might be something I want to adjust later. It's just kind of maxing out the machine's capability. It's almost like an inch long stitch. Not really ideal. For those long stitches again. It's pretty funny looking actually. Those are some silly stitches. As you can see on the shorter satin stitches, a much faster stitch out. What happened? Let's just back that up. Where'd the bobbin go? I think the bobbin just slipped down here. Oh, they're like jammed up. It's the bobbin's fault, not my fault. Oh, the bobbin's like stuck. Like tangled down here. Wait. So the bobbin got... the thread got like stuck right there. So look, I can't even pull it. Okay, so it seems to be pulling out just fine now. So let's go ahead and put it back in. Okay, let's finish this hat, guys. So I'm tapping it to check if they're all locked. If they're not locked, you'll hear a little, here actually I'll show you. See if they're not, you'll hear that if it's not locked. And sometimes you'll think it's locked and it won't be. So, all right, let's see if that fixed the issue. Don't tell my wife I did that. Alright, now I can finish my TikTok. Oh my gosh, I'm recording the whole time. We did it. We did it. See, guys? It's not that scary. Hold on, I'm doing this for the talk. Such a satisfying feeling when you rip it. Alright guys, what do you think? You guys like it? We're not done yet. So we got one more step. Remember I told you about the heat gun? Step into my office. Okay, so let me see if I could pick it up. I should have used a different foam just for camera's sake. But see, we got some foam sticking out. I didn't do a good job capping that in. But the areas where I did the satin stitches capped off really nice. And I don't know if the camera could pick it up, but there's some foam sticking out the sides, and that's pretty normal. It's hard to avoid that. If I used a white foam, you'd be able to see it a little bit easier. But to help with that issue, use a heat gun. And if you don't have a heat gun, a lighter will work. Just be careful not to burn your stitches or the garment or hat that you're using. Because I've done it. So I'm just gonna move it, and you don't want to stay in the same spot for too long or you will F stuff up. Oops. The heat was too much for my tag. It fell off. Alright guys. Now we're done. Take it off the hoop. Check out the inside. Looks like my bobbin was a little too tight. Usually, it's weird. See, on the C, it looks perfect. On these ones, I probably should have tightened the top thread, because I did loosen up my black thread because I did a non-3D puff hat. So I should have tightened it up again, but hey, you can't argue with those results. All right, and there you have it. Got a couple loose threads to trim. Yeah, well, I hope I encourage a couple people to try out 3D puff. It's not as scary as it looks or seems. You might mess up a couple hats. Don't be down on yourself. Maybe a couple bird's nests. Just listen carefully to your machine. If it starts sounding weird, stop it, pull the hat off, check everything, adjust your tension. Get a bobbin gauge, get some 3D, get some foam anywhere you want. It's not that complicated what kind of foam you get. And I think that's gonna be it, guys. If you like this video, please drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you again. Any questions? Leave them down below. All right, guys. Nice. You guys have a great day. Bye.